Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host Nathan P. Butler. This time we take a look at a new item, an actual new release here in 2025, which is kind of an odd merging of two different things that we have seen before, in a little bit of detail in the past. So, you may recall that in 1988, shortly after the passing of Joseph Campbell, we had the PBS airing of a series called Joseph Campbell and the Power of Myth with Bill Moyers. Bill Moyers had sat down to do an extensive interview with Joseph Campbell about mythology and so forth, archetypes and whatnot, and that series had 6 parts that wound up airing on PBS, public broadcasting in the United States. And we saw that that was then released on home video through multiple different outlets over a fairly long period of time. So we saw some VHS releases. I'm not going to put the little thing on the bottom here because I'm just talking generally, but we had 3 different VHS releases. We had 2 that were box sets that looked kind of like this. We had one where it was all just individual episodes being released. Those episodes, by the way, the titles are The Hero's Adventure, The Message of the Myth, The First Storytellers, Sacrifice and Bliss, Love and the Goddess, and Masks of Eternity, so I do not have to remember those later. We also saw a Laserdisc release early on, and we saw quite a few different DVD releases through, again, different companies. Kino Lorber, for example, being one of them, but various DVD releases. And we hadn't yet seen any releases since then, and you had to kind of wonder if that was even going to happen, because this is something that's being aired in 1988. It is 4:3 because that was the television standard of the time, or 1.33:1 if you prefer to think of the aspect ratio that way. So on a modern widescreen HD or 4K television, you're talking about something that's going to basically take up the middle part of your screen with black bars on left and right. Kind of a modern equivalent of what used to happen with widescreen movies on a 4:3 television, where it would automatically have to add the black bars on top and bottom for something that was too wide. Here it's too narrow. And, you know, this was in an era of standard definition, and not even great standard definition. If you watch the old Laserdisc of this series, if you watch the VHS cassettes of the series, even if you watch the DVDs, the video is not great quality. The colors and such are pretty washed out in the actual footage itself, the live footage of the interview and the various clips and whatnot that are built into it as well. So it was never really a visual showcase, even in the days in which the video quality of the program itself was perhaps more acceptable, I guess you could say, relative to the standards of the day. But here in 2025, we finally see a new release of The Power of Myth, and this time it makes the jump to a new format. Blu-ray. This is that new release. Now, this is something that I was made aware of, I believe, initially from Matthew Hardesty. I went to go try to pre-order it, and the pre-order wasn't up yet, and I completely forgot about it. Until recently, Brian Snook pointed it out, and I was like, oh, I forgot about that, and finally put it in order for this thing now that it is out. So, this is that release. It's very similar in style to the covers of a lot of these early releases here. They all tend to use this same imagery and whatnot, just in different forms. But here it is. It is now, this time, from a company called Film Movement, so yet another distributor putting this thing out here. But we have a quote from the New York Times, fascinating. Then we have compelling from the Wall Street Journal, Joseph Campbell and the Power of Myth. It does have the and in there, some of the titles do not. With Bill Moyers has that image. It says the groundbreaking 6-part series as seen on PBS. Then you have your spine there. Just let you see it there, and then I'll have to get closer to me to be able to see it. There we go. So this 2-disc set has that image again, Joseph Campbell and the Power of Myth with Bill Moyers. Has the Film Movement logo there, which is like this little like void-looking thing, whirlwind-looking thing, hurricane-looking thing, who the heck knows looking thing. And then a Blu-ray symbol. Then on the back tells you a bit about it. So we'll go ahead and read this. Haven't done that in a while with some of these. But to give you a sense of what this is, it does have a picture of Campbell and Moyers here, or pictures. There's a quote from Howard Rosenberg of the Los Angeles Times saying, witty, stirring, and elevating. Campbell and Moyers discuss heroes of myths, ranging from ancient tales to George Lucas's Star Wars trilogy. We'll come back to that. An exhilarating exploration into our shared experience across the ages, The Power of Myth is a landmark 6-part series of interviews recorded at Skywalker Ranch and New York's American Museum of Natural History between acclaimed journalist Bill Moyers and renowned scholar Joseph Campbell. In conversations that span millennia and cover the far reaches of the globe, the two discuss how myths are clues to the spiritual core of human nature, while touching on such diverse topics as religion, folklore, and pop culture. Originally broadcast in 1988, shortly after Campbell's death, The Power of Myth went on to become one of the most popular series in the history of public television and continues to inspire new audiences decades later. And that's no joke, it is kind of a seminal production here. Notice there it was recorded at Skywalker Ranch. There are references within it to Star Wars as sort of a modern version of using these mythological archetypes and whatnot. Again, this was made in '88 after the original trilogy was done in theaters. And then in the red and yellow boxes here, it indicates, first off, that it includes all 6 episodes on both discs. It's 3 episodes per disc, so 1 to 3, 4 to 6. And then nearly 3 hours of bonus features, which we will come back to. And it says it also includes a 24-page companion booklet featuring an extremely rare essay by Joseph Campbell, plus additional reading materials from the Joseph Campbell Foundation. Again, we'll come back to the bonus features because that's something I was very surprised by and very happy to see. So here's that booklet in here. Instead of a regular insert, it is a booklet of essay-style material here, which is nice to have. Then you have the individual discs. I'm going to show you disc 2 first. So it's Joseph Campbell and the Power of Myth with Bill Moyers. Over here you have Film Movements logo. Here you have, hard to see, but it's Blu-ray, the all region, and then the aspect ratio. Disc 2, names of the episodes, Bill Moyers' Journal, Joseph Campbell, Myths to Live By, Parts 1 and 2. And then I guess this kind of spoils the surprise of the bonus features there, but that's okay. Same type of thing for Disc 1. Notice at the bottom, The Mythology of Star Wars with Bill Moyers and George Lucas. There is also on these, I guess, there's that legalese running along the bottom that I didn't mention on the other disc. So we'll come back to that, but I've kind of spoiled the bonus features there after trying not to show them on the back. What can I say? I suck. Here is your insert. Basically, it's like the cover insert, but because it's a clear Blu-ray case, as they all are, you can actually see through it that they've got Joseph Campbell here with some special thanks, and then actually descriptions of what's on each disc, though it's a little bit harder to read because you are reading it through the blue and through the contours of the case and everything, but that at least is a nice touch to give you that kind of information here. But yes, we've seen through primarily these many DVD releases that typically there'll be a bunch of little oddball bonus features on releases of Power of Myth. Many of them continued on from set to set. We looked at that in great depth before. I'm not going to go into it here. But 2 key things to know is that on some of these, there were a couple episodes of Bill Moyers' own show where he's talking about stuff and talking with Joseph Campbell outside of that main series. Some of them have those episodes or parts of those episodes. Also, we saw that a while after this, in 1999, Bill Moyers sat down with George Lucas to have a similar conversation about Star Wars and mythology, which we eventually saw on VHS releases and DVD, but that was basically as far as it ever got. But on those DVD releases of Power of Myth, we would typically see a snippet, like a little excerpt basically, from a piece of the mythology of Star Wars. So Star Wars is being discussed in the program itself, and then one of the bonus features, often but not always, was a little clip of Mythology of Star Wars. Well, now we're on Blu-ray with greater capacity. So this only has a small number of bonus features, but the bonus features are pretty badass. Not sure I've ever said badass in relation to anything from PBS before. But as noted here, on disc 2, you actually have the entirety of both of those episodes of his other show. So you not only have the main 6-part series here with Joseph Campbell, you have Bill Moyers' Journal, Joseph Campbell, Myths to Live By, Parts 1 and 2 on the second disc here. And on the first disc, as noted there down at the bottom that I kind of spoiled a second ago, it has Mythology of Star Wars. But it's not an excerpt like it has been on DVD all this time. It is the entirety of the Mythology of Star Wars with George Lucas and Bill Moyers, which for some reason it says Bill Moyers and George Lucas on the little thing there. But it is the entirety of the Mythology of Star Wars being released on Blu-ray for the very first time. Not on its own, but as a bonus feature here with Power of Myth. So that alone makes this a set worth picking up for a Star Wars home video collector. You might look at Power of Myth and say, it's tangentially related, it's only a little bit Star Wars in that entire series, I'm gonna pass. But not now, hopefully, because this Blu-ray release, yeah, the primary thing is Power of Myth, but among its bonus features is the entirety of that great documentary where Moyer sits down with George Lucas, specifically talking Star Wars that we have seen in 3 previous standard definition releases. So definitely worth picking up if you're into that and you want to see Mythology of Star Wars. Even if you never watched the main series, this is a way to get that Star Wars documentary on Blu-ray for the very first time. Now, is there anything really visually different about it? Did they upgrade this at all? It certainly does not appear so whatsoever. So when you watch this, especially on a modern television that can handle, 4K and so on, it's not gonna look great. You're gonna want to sit a little further back from the TV so that all the granular meh doesn't quite come through as much. I will say that Mythology of Star Wars, which was of course made later, does look better, but even Mythology of Star Wars, the interior stuff with Lucas talking to Moyers looks pretty good. It's not necessarily upscaled or anything, but it does look pretty good. But the shots outdoors are pretty washed out, and oddly, the clips from the films themselves are pretty washed out color-wise, but that was the case prior to that as well for whatever reason. So it's not the best visually appealing set, certainly, but it's a great set in and of itself. You could get Power of Myth on DVD and have everything and have the various little bonus features. But when it comes to bonus features really packing a punch rather than seeming to be sort of oddballs related to Joseph Campbell, this set is the one that takes the cake because you have all 6 episodes of Power of Myth, both episodes of the Joseph Campbell Myths to Live By stuff from Bill Moyer's journal, and the entirety of Mythology of Star Wars all in a single package on 2 Blu-ray discs. I was excited to see it. I'm irrationally happy to have this in my collection. I mean, visually, it's not an upgrade or anything like that, but as someone who really enjoyed Power of Myth and loves the Mythology of Star Wars documentary, to have this now in my hands with both in one package, to me, that's an exciting thing. But again, I'm a nerd. Not even just a Star Wars home video collecting nerd, but a nerd even beyond those boundaries here. So your mileage will certainly vary. With that, though, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers.